Good morning, and welcome to a bright, sunshiny Winnipeg. Now, the weather is predicted to be really mild, unseasonably mild for today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. So, I think that there is probably a 95% chance I'm going to be able to get out on the e-bike again. Yeah, it's going to be cold, and as I mentioned to a viewer this morning, I'm going to be going down the bike path all bundled up with my parka and the hood up and the helmet jammed over my head and so on. But you know what? It's going to be really good to get back out there on the bike one last time this year. For a while there, I thought it wasn't going to happen. But I was outside this morning today's garbage day, so I was outside this morning putting out the garbage or the recycle, and I don't know why I always have to get so technical. I mean, you wouldn't have known if it was garbage or recycle, but I had this need to correct myself. Anyway, it must be a fault of mine. Anyway, I was putting out the recycle, and I was noticing that I'm guessing, well, I wouldn't say all of our snow is gone because there's still some in the backyard, but on the front street is bare right now. Yeah. I was hoping for this, but I wasn't expecting it. Anyway, now we are going to be starting the aircraft today. And because we're going to be working on the aircraft, we really don't need the Iowa sitting on the table here. And I think I mentioned that there's a good chance that our friend Gabe is going to be coming by tomorrow, and he's going to be doing a painting demonstration again. So we don't want this on here because I want my plan is to be able to set up in such a way that I can sort of follow him around with my camera. I know, if you remember last time he says, I said my video card will only last for, the way the camera's set up, for about half an hour. He indicated that I won't be that long. And we were just having such a good time, we just couldn't stop. And all of a sudden I noticed my camera had shut down. Remember that? So this time I got to remember to switch it onto my big video card. Now, the reason I don't have the big video card activated, you might say, all the time is because it was a Nikon brand, very expensive, and I have since found that these cards slightly degrade, and the more you use them, the more they degrade. And my camera, when I have it set at 8K, it is so taxing on the video card that it wore the first two out. Not to the place where they weren't still good and usable at normal 4K, but at 8K they just would shut down after a minute or two. And yeah, so I got this new video card in the camera right now, and I use it only for when I'm doing 8K. Or tomorrow I'll have it on, and I should be able to, he should be able to yap away for 3 hours and it won't shut down. Battery will go dead first. But this camera has quite a large battery. I don't know how long it would run. I believe it would probably run the full 3 hours before it shut down. Gabe won't be here that long, I can assure you. He won't be able to put up with me that long. Okay, let's get going here. I'm going to take the Iowa off the table. I saw the walkers this morning. We'll be doing that. It looks like I would think. Oh my goodness, the sun is coming up, but it's coming up way off to the right. I'm sort of almost missing it. Well, I guess it is what it is, because that's the way the camera's adjusted. I guess I'll have to remember for tomorrow morning, have it swung more to the right. My goodness, it's almost as far right as it's going to get. I think, what is it, just a little over a month, we're going to be at the shortest day of the year. So that will mean that the sun is the most to the right that it's going to get. But I don't think it's going to change that much between now and then. we're sort of at the bottom of the trough, or whatever you want to call it. Okay, let's stop yapping here. We got ourselves a nice hot cup of coffee. I'm going to try and limit myself to coffee. I'm drinking way too much of it. So I've already had 1 cup early this morning when I was checking my comments and emails and stuff like that. And I'll probably have maybe a few sips out of this. And then the rest is just going to be water. At least that's the plan. Okay, let's get ourselves recomposed and try and get some of these parts nipped off. There isn't that many different parts. And it's all plastic. There's no photo etch involved, I don't think, on this step. It's all plastic. I'm gonna have to be careful. Some of these parts are very, very delicate, and I can see where if I put too much extra thin, I'm going to dissolve them away. Like the struts for the little wing floats that. Anyway, we'll look at that later. Now this should be and thanks to those viewers who suggested about painting this. Maybe we'll be talking about that later. Yeah. So okay, let's get at it. Okay. I don't know how this is going to work on clear plastic because I don't think I've ever tried it before. But I've got my light coming in from an acute angle here to cast shadows. I'm noticing that the clear plastic is much more difficult to read the numbers. For instance, we've got the wing floats here, number 7 and number 8. Maybe I'll just move in a little bit here. And to me, I would think that if you took a number 7 and flipped it over, it would become a number 8, but it could be that there is slight detailing on one side more than the other. I don't know. The little bombs, they're obviously they're symmetrical. The floats are different as well. This one says number 1, and this one says number 2. There aren't that many different parts. And of course the top of the fuselage here and the bottom of the fuselage here, it's going to be a fairly simple build. Now, my experience with clear plastic is that it is much more brittle than the ordinary sprue. So I'm going to want to be careful here that I don't try to twist something off that I might normally do with the clear plastic. But I think the best thing to do is to do the trimming later. In other words, leave lots of flashing on and cut carefully so that when this goes up, it doesn't tend to break off. Now, mind you, if it was to break off here, what happens is this cowling goes over the end, obviously. So if it was to make a bit of a mess on the end, it wouldn't be a big deal. But let's just try it here. Yeah, you can tell there's a much more brittle sound going on here. I'll just take it back. Let me get my chin out of the way here. If I cut like this, when the jaw spreads the parts, it will have a tendency to lift it up and not put stress right here on the edge of the fuselage. At least that's my thinking. Now maybe I'm over engineering this. Do you hear that? That's quite a different sound. Yeah, much more brittle. Okay, let's get the other big part here. Now the floats are different, number 1 and number 2. I think maybe I should, before I go any further, we can get this part off. Yeah, you could. When I was nipping it, I could see the fracture following up into the plastic. You can see how the end there has become clouded. Well, that's actually a whole bunch of little fractures if I was to look at it with the microscope. Okay, we got that. Just let me get some extra tins going on here. Heaven knows I've got a myriad of tuna fish tins. So, okay, we need 1, 2. Those two are different and those two are different. So I need a total of 5 tins altogether. Okay, we got our tins all ready to go here. Now, those of you who are used to watching my videos, you probably are already expecting what I'm about to do here. Yeah, that's right. I'm gonna pause right here. We're gonna slip on the macro lens. And then we're gonna zoom in and make it look like one smooth transition. At least that's the plan. Okay, are you ready? Here we go. I was afraid it might ping off on me here. Okay. Now, obviously there is some difference, otherwise they would not have, a number 8 and a number 7. Okay, we've got all our parts cut off and separated. And I was noticing here on the aircraft, on the wingtips, there's what appears to be guns, but they're out on the wingtips. Anyway, what I wanted to mention was a person's going to have to be really careful not to break those off. I'll just show you what I'm talking about here. Okay, let me recompose. Now, I was noticing afterwards when I put our little clear plastic plane on that white piece of plywood that the guns didn't show up, so we're going to do a green cloth thing here. Moments ago when I was setting up, my phone rings and it's my son, and he wants to come by later this afternoon, in fact 1:30 to be exact. You know how I like to be precise. Yeah, I like to be precise, so that's why I'm not building this thing the way I should, right? Okay, anyway, he wants to come by about 1:30 this afternoon and help me put on my winter tires. Now, it's going to be a case of I'm going to be helping him because he's going to be basically doing it. But anyway, so I'm going to have to wind today's episode up this morning and get the final edit and everything done by that time. And yeah, it's gonna be a beautiful afternoon for doing that. He's got the afternoon off, and the weather's good. I mean, it's just all working out, isn't it? Yeah, I might even get out on the e-bike this late this afternoon. We'll see what happens. I'll let you know tomorrow how it goes. But I'm not actually planning to go out on the e-bike, down the bike path very far until tomorrow, because tomorrow is actually supposed to be warmer, according to the weather reporting individual. Anyway, what I want to do right now is I want to take a look here and see what are these. I should be able to find a good picture of this particular aircraft. And I would not have thought that guns would be away out on the wingtips. You would think they'd be a little closer in, but whatever. They're too big to be what I would have called a pitot tube. In other words, a little tube that sticks out into the air that gives you your airspeed, works on air pressure. Yeah, okay, I think we've seen that. Okay, here I am in Stefan Drembinski's book, and this is the e-book version, of course. And if we go over here to the table of contents and we go down to aircraft. All right, here we go. This looks like the one we're making. Okay. All right. Here we are. See this here? They don't have it on this wing, so in all likelihood, Trumpeter might have made a mistake there. But this is not a gun. This is what I call a pitot tube. The air pressure would, rush in here, you might say, and then there would be a tube that would run all the way in to the airspeed indicator, which would be on the instrument panel up here. Yeah, that's the way they did it way back when I was a kid. Okay, yeah. All right, so now we know it's not a gun. This clear plastic is a little bit harder to, it's not as malleable, I guess the word is. And I'm just trying to get rid of all the sprue connections here on the side of the fuselage very, very carefully, so that when I glue the upper and lower half together, I'm not going to have a divot going on there. Well, there's probably going to be something. I got the leading edge of the wings pretty good here. I'm going to leave both pitot tubes on, even though Stefan's drawing showed just one. I'll just leave them both on. Won't hurt anything. And yet, on the other hand, maybe I'll check and see if I can find some real photographs. And if the photograph clearly shows that there's only one, I know I should maybe be using a sanding stick here. But if the photograph shows that there's only one, maybe I'll cut off the one that isn't supposed to be there. We'll see how it goes. It's not going, people aren't going to notice anyway, unless it's being judged by, in a contest or something, and they're looking for mistakes. But they do have nice detail molded in here. I just noticed now that even on the ailerons there are the trim tabs molded in. So that's kind of a nice little touch. I can see that once this is, if I'm careful when I paint this and spray it, hopefully the detail is going to stay in there. I don't know if it's the kind of thing that I can use panel line accent color on the wings and so on, but I don't think so. I think I'm just gonna. Okay, I got this one here about as good as I can get it. Yeah, I think it's gonna be all right. Okay, so that's one piece. Now probably about 30 more to go. Okay, I got our flashing all nipped off, and our little pieces are ready to be stuck together, but that's not going to happen today. A little over an hour and a half, my son's going to be here to help me with the tires. I got to get him out of the back room, got to top the air pressure up, and I got to do the final edit. I got to call her quits here, or what's going to happen is he's going to be knocking on my door, and I'm going to have to say, sorry, I'm not ready yet. I'll be real popular, won't I? Okay, yeah, got an email from Gabe. He said he's going to be here tomorrow morning about 10 o'clock, all being well. So that'll be nice. We got that to look forward to. Okay, thanks for watching, everybody. And all being well, we're going to see you tomorrow.